Okay, so we have made it back on just in time. Here we go, we are live, and the race is about to start. So we are on board, and there they go. Off they go. Marmolato leads. The Press Squid is pushing him all the way into the first corner. Ash just behind, Offcut not far behind him. They're all keeping it nice and clean into the first turn. That's what we like to see. Oh, Offcut's had a spin. Is he going to collect people behind him? Oh, what's happened there? Oh, there's been a bit of an accident there. A couple of people have had it. Oh, there was a little spin from Offcut. I didn't see if there was any contact in that. But out in front, these top three got away absolutely scot-free. Como White has gained a few positions from that. You can see, as the timing screen updates on the left, the damage that's done to Offcut and Mike RJ95's race, as they are right down the field, and Serial Killer appears to have taken the worst of it right at the back. So Marmolato has already got a half a second lead over the Press Squid, who's being pushed really hard in behind by Ash 150. So Como White up to fourth now, with a Generino down to fifth. The Press Squid under a lot of pressure here from Ash 150. He's coming after him for that position. No quarter given here as they complete the first lap, and your leader by nearly a second. He's flown out the traps. Marmolato well cleared out now in first place, 1.2 seconds ahead of the Press Squid, who just can't hold that kind of pace. Ash 150 close in behind. Como White fourth in behind him. Generino really got lucky with all the incident at the start, and he's gained loads of positions up into fifth. Kenneth, currently the Press Squid's Dutch teammate, is down in sixth place. Offcut, who I don't know if he caused the accident or had a tap at the start. We'll have to have a look back on the stream after this is finished and see what happened there. He's down in seventh. MX3 Beast, his teammate, right behind him in eighth. Harrison currently in ninth. Wifo Volt 3N is in 10th. Mike RJ, who seemed to take the brunt of that accident at the start, from what I could tell, is currently down in 11th. Full Throt behind him in 12th. Adam Foster is in 13th place, and Serial Killer is quite a few seconds off the back. I suspect he may have some damage after that shunt at the front. You can see actually all the damage on the front of his car there. That is just going to be costing him time every lap, so I suspect he'll want to get his mandatory pit stop done out of the way ASAP. So the lead out in front now is still 1.8 seconds. So the closest battle on the circuit is still this battle between the Press Squid and Ash 150, with less than half a second between these two. They will push each other all the way through this race. Ash just popping out to the left, letting him know he's there so we can see him in his mirrors. I am here, I'm not going anywhere. So they all pulling away from the cars behind. Como White has swapped back with Generino, so I don't know if there's an issue there or whether there was a clean move. Time shall tell. So the gap out in front just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and Marmolato just has to keep it clean at this point. But as I said in the last race, the Press Squid lost time in the first half of the race as he preserved his tyres, preserved his fuel, and in the second half of the race he was eating and eating into the leader's time, and eventually lost out by just a couple of meters. So I'll be intrigued to see the second half of this. It's too early to call anything yet. So just looking at the back now, Serial Killer has eaten some time into Full Throt and Adam Foster. So I think he'll still be looking to get into the top 10 by the end of this. But these top 3 cars are flying in comparison to the cars behind them. Generino losing seconds per lap. Oh, I think Ash has had a bit of an off there in the background, has he? He's lost some time there, definitely. I think I saw him just flash off. A little mistake there. Yeah, he's lost a lot of time. Yeah, so he's lost about a second and a half there with that mistake, and he won't be happy with himself. He prides himself on his consistency. Ash 150, that's what's won him championships with us in the past, and unfortunately he's just made a little mistake there that is going to cost him. He's going to have to work really hard to get that time back from to press quit now. Luckily he's got enough of a gap behind him that it didn't cost him a position, but it has cost him 1.5 seconds at least to the car in front. So could have a little battle brewing here between teammates. You've got MX3 Beast less than a second behind his teammate. And I suspect his teammate is carrying some damage from that incident at the start. You can kind of see from the state of his car, really. And there's a bit of a battle brewing here as well with this slot. And there is R. Harrison's number 7 Ferrari. He's just been overtaken by Adam Foster, but he's sticking with him at the moment. There's not a lot of time in it. So this is only Mr. Harrison's second race with us, and he'll be looking forward to the season, which is predominantly the European tracks that he knows and loves. So the time keeps disappearing for Serial Killer, so I was just checking how far behind he is, but he's got that gap to the cars in front of him down a heck of a lot now. It was 20 odd seconds at one point, it's now just 9 seconds back. So Ash has gone into the pits, he's getting his pit stop out of the way. I'm not sure if he picked up damage where he had that off, or if he's just going for a strategic change, but Ash is into the pits, so he will be dead last pretty soon, and the 2 Lexus cars of Team Dash are last and last but one in this race at the moment. Granted, we do not have a full grid for tonight's race, but they are last and last but one in the 13th and 14th now. Serial Killer continues to get that gap down. But yeah, Ash into the pits, so he's having some work done. And is showing that he's a lap down, so I'm not sure whether he's retired. It doesn't say so on my screen, but I'm sure I'll find out from the group chat if he has. Doesn't appear to be much going on there. Oh, yeah, no, the car's just been dropped. Yeah, he's off. He hasn't retired. He's just doing a standard pit stop. Okay, this will be interesting now. See how far back through the field he can fight up when the others have to do their mandatory stops later on. So, in the meantime, there's been a position swap for the teammates Offcut and MX3 Beast. They have swapped positions. Comma White is closing in on Generino, who is now up to 3rd place. Good showing from him in only his 2nd race with us. So the gap out in front, 2.8 seconds. That's stopped getting bigger. It's been about that size now for the last few minutes. So I don't know whether Marmoletto is struggling to hold on to his tyres out in front, perhaps. It's a possibility. So I'm just going to stick with this battle for a moment and see if Comma White can get past Generino here. So they are just coming down towards the hill before the hairpin. So up to the blind hairpin, you can make a lot of time up on the car in front of you here if you just get it right. He's back on the power nice and early in that Audi, chasing down Generino in front of him in the Lexus. But that Lexus is a good solid car. If you're experienced with it, it's got a lot of pace and it's very, very easy to keep on the road underneath a good driver. So these guys already 10 seconds off Depressed Squid, who's lost a lot of time. After I said he hadn't lost much time, he's now 3.6 seconds behind Marmoletto out in front, and this is just about still the closest battle on the grid. So Serial Killer has done well for himself. As I say, he was cutting that time down and he is up to 10th, so he's back into what would be a points scoring position, so fair play to him. A bit of a recovery drive. He picked up some damage in that shunt at the start along with Offcut and Mike RJ 95. So like I say, I don't know what caused that accident. All I saw was Offcut's Porsche going very sideways. Whether there was contact, I don't know at this point. It's looking a little bit second-hand, the front of that Lexus, but it's still going, and Serial Killer seems to have some decent pace. And out in front, I just noticed that the Press Squid has managed to knock half a second out of Marmoletto, so something's happened to Marmoletto there. But he's not one to panic. The Press Squid, he will take his time and work his way through the race, keeping his tyres, keeping the fuel where he wants it, and attacking only when he feels ready. He won't be rushed for anyone. So the gap back now to Generino is, I think, 12 odd seconds. Yeah, 12 seconds, so it's a fair gap back at the moment to those guys. So Mike RJ catching up with Kenneth here. Mike RJ currently looking for a teammate if anybody fancies switching to the AMG. Oh, it's a nice move down the inside there. Kenneth gives him plenty of room. I think he just got the brake in slightly wrong there, Mike RJ, and Kenneth holds a position. He was patient there. Kenneth gave him plenty of room, and Mike RJ sits back to attack again. He's right on the back of him again now. He's definitely quicker than Kenneth. You can see he's got more pace than him. But Kenneth defending really well, nice and clean, and just keeping it on the black stuff, putting the car in the right position to defend. But this hairpin now is where Mike RJ can make a move, coming up the hill here into the braking zone. If he can position the car right, can he make a move? No, he's just too far back to make any imprint on that. Oh, and I've just noticed there's been an issue out in front. The Press Squid has had an off. He's lost 10 seconds to the leader. He's lost 10 seconds to Marmoletto out in front, and he's now only 2.5 seconds in front of Generino. He's lost a good 10 seconds there. That'll be really disappointing for him. So it appears that the Press Squid and Ash 150 are really pushing hard in this race, as they're making mistakes that you wouldn't normally see these drivers make. I'll be interested to see where they finish, particularly Ash, who made a very early pit stop, so he's very much out of sync at the moment, but not last. So my teammate Adam Foster currently down in last place, but I suspect he has also gotten his pit stop done out of the way. So there's no... Oh, there's a little bit of contact there between Kenneth and Mike RJ50. It's just made it stick. I don't think it was intentional, but a little bit unclean there Just need to make sure you're giving each other room, boys. Keep it nice and clean. So Clenneth down to 8th and Mike RJ up to 7th. So just ahead of them, MX3 Beast still keeping in touch with his teammate. Not losing any time at all to Ofka, but not making any inroads either. Whether they're just holding station as teammates, using this as a bit of a test session, which is exactly what it's designed for. Perhaps that's the case. So we're just going to jump on with Depressed Squid. He's lost a bit more time again. Now he's nearly 14 seconds off the leader, so I suspect he's made some more mistakes. Even Generino behind him is reeling him in now. So there appears to be something creeping into Depressed Squid's driving tonight. Perhaps it's the commentator's curse. Lord only knows. But something's not quite right with him tonight. He's normally smooth as a baby's butt, but he's having a few issues out there. I say he's lost a good 12 seconds over the last 2 or 3 laps. So it's not going particularly well, but it's still a heck of a long way to go. We are 16 minutes into this race and still have 43 minutes and a few seconds to go. So sit rep at the moment then. We have Marmolato, who is way out in front. He's got Ash 150 just behind him, but Ash 150 is currently a lapped car due to having to make an early pit stop. Depressed Squid currently in 2nd position. He is losing time every lap now, so I think he may well have picked up some damage when he had the off that we missed off camera, unfortunately. But I think something has definitely happened because he's losing time hand over fist here. Generino driving a superb race in the Lexus. Started quite far back in the field, but it, kept out of trouble at the start. Has gone around all the incidents really, just kept it clean, and is currently catching Depressed Squid for 2nd place for the most part. So good driving from him so far. My stand-in for the evening, Common White 53. He's taken my place this evening. Not in the league as of next week, but will be involved in some of our other events. And he's driving superbly, currently in 4th, nice and clean. Next up then we have Offcut 25. Incident at the start, you can see that by the battered paintwork on that Porsche, but not sure exactly what happened there. We would have to have a look on a replay of some sort, whether he caused contact or whether there was contact. But he is currently in 4th because we've had a disconnection. Oh, it's our Italian driver, unfortunately, has disconnected again. He's had a few issues with the server this week. I fear his internet connection isn't as stable as he would like. Unfortunately, he has disconnected again. So that has released Depressed Squid slightly. Common White up to 3rd, Offquat now 4th. His teammate right behind him, keeping him right in his sights. It's a long old race for these guys, are just being patient at this point, but MX3 Beast is up to 5th. Mike RJ at 95, he was heavily involved in that incident at the start. He had to basically stop to avoid Offcut 25 in that incident. He's closing down on these two, so I would expect that to brew into a battle very shortly. He's got over a second on Clenneth now, who we overtook on the last lap. Serial Killer now up to 8th position. He's yet to make his pit stop though, so I'm not sure how that's going to affect him. He's currently 18 seconds behind Clenneth, so I think our top 7 without an accident looks pretty set based on what I can see at the moment. So another 17 seconds back from him then is Full Throt. 6 in the Ferrari number 323, and one of our Scotsmen, a Y4 Volt 3N, is 6 seconds back off him. Harrison 7 seconds back off him, and then Ash, who is one of the only drivers who's been in the pits, along with Adam Foster. These two keeping each other company at the back at the moment, but most of the other drivers have yet to stop. So we will see what happens when those stops start happening. So just going to jump on now with the Depressed Squid again. He's lost a bit more time. Marmalotto is just streaming away out in front, nice and consistent in that Bentley, and looks untouchable as it stands. But it's a long old race. One little mistake, you're in the wall and you've got a pit stop for a minute, and that's it, race over. So let us see how this unfolds. So just to make you aware, we are running a league championship on PC on Tuesdays, and this is our PS4 league, which is on a Thursday, as you are well aware, as you were watching on a Thursday. The format is that we are, for the PS4 league at least, running the 2019 European season effectively, and then we'll do a second season then with all the intercontinental tracks and the new tracks that are coming out soon, such as the British GT tracks and the couple that we aren't doing on this, which are Monza and Zolder. So they will be included in season 2, so just to break it up and make sure that we're doing different tracks and keep it interesting for everyone. We have a Drivers' Championship, and as I've said, mentioned the teammates many times, so we will also be running a team championship. And we also have an award for the highest finish position driver in the championship at the end of the season who hasn't had a podium, and that one I have named the Nico Hulkenberg Trophy. So yeah, the highest place without a podium at the end of the season gets the Nico Hulkenberg Trophy. So just noticed my teammate Adam Foster there, so just in the front, so I think the Depressed Squid is not far off coming up to lap Ash and Adam, but I don't know if he's going to have the pace to do that. Those guys have already stopped. They're keeping each other pretty honest, so Generino has managed to make his way back into the server, but unfortunately he is now 3 laps down. So out in front then, Marmalotto. Let's just do a lap on board with him. Well, not on board, but while watching him. Unfortunately, you can't change the views on ACC, which I'm hoping they'll update at some point, because it would be nice to be able to jump on board with people and do different views. But we've just got the trackside view, so he's just gone through turn 1. And he's got a kink right-hander then up to turn 3, hard on the brakes, and then on the power as quick as possible for what is effectively the back straight. And then you've got the long sweeping right-hander, which tightens as you go. You've got to get just enough speed off and get back on the power as quickly as you can before the sharp left, and again back on the power for this section. Although it's not straight, you can pretty much keep it pinned all the way around this section. Just down the hill, lift off a little bit of speed, back on the power, up the hill to the other side, on the way up to the hairpin. Blind corner, break-in point is hard to keep consistent because you can't see the corner, and it's a hard one to get right every time. So down the hill the other side then we have the fast left hand before slamming on the anchors down into second gear for the right hander, back on the power as quickly as you can, and then you've got the little kink right before the sharp left of the start finish straight. So as you can see, he is keeping it planted, completely consistent. Absolutely no issues at all for him. He's just flawless out there in a league of his own at the moment. But you can see that he's lapped Ash, but Ash isn't losing much time to him. So, because you can see Ash still in the background there, so I think Ash will probably come back into play once the pit stops have happened. So we can see now Serial Killer is taking his pit stop. I suspect this will take a while because he had a considerable amount of damage at the start. And there we are, that looks like his pit stop's just about to finish and he's back out. So I said to keep an eye on this battle earlier. Mike RJ95 was going to close up on the two Porsches in front of him, and that is exactly what has happened. So this will be an interesting battle now. Offcut 25 has got a bit of a rear gunner in the shape of MX3 Beast to protect him for a little bit, but Mike RJ95 clearly has the pace on these two guys, but they're all pretty close. I think Offcut made a mistake because MX3 Beast is closed right up on him, but all three of these drivers in with a shout of a podium today. I mean, even one mistake in the pit stop can cost you 5 to 10 seconds just by missing your pit box. It's completely manual on this game and it's not easy to do. So we've had just over 25 minutes of racing now, and you have to say without a mistake or an incident, it's looking like Marmolato's race to lose as it stands. So Offcut's just dropped back there. I think he's made another mistake on Mike RJ, and MX3 Beast have both got past. So Mike RJ now battling with MX3 Beast for 4th position. So a nice recovery drive from him after getting tied up in that at the start. Oh, and the Marmolato, the leader, is in the pits for his mandatory stop, and MX3 Beast and Offcut have all gone into the pit all at the same time. So we have a new race leader who is the Press Squid, but obviously he has not yet done his pit stop. Mike RJ currently up to 3rd. So now he's got clear air. Mike RJ, he can just go after Common White and try and chase him down. So he's currently just under 12 seconds behind him. I think he's faster than him lap on lap, but that's a big gap. But he has got 33 minutes, so he's just over half of the race to get that gap down. So you'll be pleased to know, guys, anybody listening to the stream, I'm not the commentator. We do have a professional commentator coming in to do our first 2 races of the season. I am literally just filling in for tonight as a test session, just to make sure that everything's working with our server and the streaming service works properly. So yeah, that is all that it is. So that was just to make you aware. I am not going to be boring you to death week on week. That won't be me. You will have a very professional commentator on our streams, and he's very, very good at what he does. So anybody on the stream, I've just put in the Twitch account in for our commentator. He commentates on some touring car leagues on Project Cars 2. He's very good. Give him a follow so you can follow our first few races from next week. That's in the Twitch comments. I've just popped that in there. So give him a follow, and like I say, you'll be commentating on ours, but do follow his other leagues that he streams as well. He's very, very, very good at what he does. So where are we now? We are 31 minutes in. 16 laps have been completed. Currently Marmolato is down in 5th position. After making his pit stop earlier than the people in front of him. So he's 10 seconds off Kenneth, who hasn't stopped yet. None of the cars in front of him have. Luke, Mr. Depressed Squid, I wonder if he's going to try and go long and just get some of that time back that he lost. The majority of the 15-second gap he had behind Marmolato was from mistakes from his own doing, so I know he'll be frustrated with that. So Ash 150 stopped very early, and he's currently up to 5th, with the guys ahead of him, apart from Amuletto, nobody else has stopped. So he's made good positions up and could well still be on for a reasonable finish here.
We're at the halfway mark, keep pushing.
So just past halfway, as you have heard. So Depressed Squid still out in front. He's coming up towards the back of Adam Foster at the moment. Adam Foster has stopped. Still within 4 seconds of Ash 150 in front of him. And keeping with him for pace for the most part. And Ash is no slouch, let me tell you. He is a championship winner with us. See Mike RJ95 is eating into the gap of Common White in front of him and Depressed Squid. So with half an hour to go, it wouldn't surprise me if Mike RJ is still in with a shout. Definitely in with a shout of 3rd, and possibly even with a shout of 2nd, depending on how Depressed Squid drives in this second half of the race. So it's all really going to come down to this last sort of 4 or 5 laps and seeing where people are. Marmalotto's come out of the pits straight back on form. He's taking chunks of time out of Clenneth in front of him, and it won't be too long before that number 4 Bentley is back up into the lead, unless something drastic happens. So Serial Killer has made his pit stop along with Offcut and MX3 Beast. There's still a few cars who haven't pitted yet. Full Throt, Clenneth and Mike RJ95 have just popped into the pits now. It's be interesting to see, because Mike RJ overtook Offcut and MX3 Beast 80 as they went into the pits. So it'll be interesting to see where they are on the track, and do they come out ahead of him, or did he in that clear air really eat into that time? Will he be far ahead? So these guys aren't even through the hairpin yet, so unless Mike RJ95 has a particularly slow stop, I think he's got this one covered. So we'll just stick with Offcut here. MX3 Beast has had an issue somewhere, because he went in at the same time as his teammate and appears to be way off. And yeah, you can already see on the graphic at the bottom right, Mike RJ95 has already left the pits, so he's gained through the pit stops. Whether there was an issue with the pit stops or there was damage, I don't know, obviously without speaking to the drivers, but he's gained a good 30 seconds out of that. So yeah, he's done a great job there. So the only car effectively ahead of him on the road at the moment is Marmoletto, who is a good almost half a circuit ahead of him, and he's 46 seconds behind Depressed Squid, who's currently in the pits. But Marmoletto is just coming round to the last sequence of corners now. So we have a new race leader in Common White 53, but he is yet to stop. And Marmoletto is just coming down the pit lane now. Depressed Squid is still stationary, so there he goes, he's off. It's a race now between he's got it covered, so he's got second place covered, Depressed Squid, when Common White makes his stop. I was just checking the track map for Mike RJ, and he's way back off these two. I thought maybe he had it in him to get him. It may be a question of how close he can get now to Common White, who's currently leading this race and due to make a pit stop any moment now. He is one of only 2 drivers who has not yet stopped. So Depressed Squid has got the gap down though. Just looking here now, there is Marmalade, oh, there is Depressed Squid in the background. So Depressed Squid has got that gap down. So whether Marmalade had a slow pit stop perhaps, or has encountered an issue with the traffic, and Depressed Squid has had a cleaner run at it. But the gap now is only 7.2 seconds, where it was 16 seconds at one point, and mostly due to mistakes that Depressed Squid had made. So Common White is in the pits, and as Marmaletto, the number 4, and Depressed Squid, number 11, are coming round the final couple of corners. 8 seconds back is Depressed Squid as it stands. He made a lot of time back by going longer, so he's done well there. And Common White will drop down to 3rd, possibly 4th. I don't think Mike RJ95 is going to have the pace to get that AMG down to that start-finish straight before Common White pulls off. Is Common White moving yet? He's just started moving now, so it's going to be reasonably close. No, he's okay. He's got a couple of corners grace. So Common White could even get a podium. Filling in for me today, taking my space so I can do this and just do this test run. And yeah, if he gets a podium, I think I'm going to claim it for myself, seeing as he's replaced me. So I think that's only fair. Seems about right. So sit rep then. We are 20 laps in. There is 23.5 minutes to go. Marmalotto is 8.5 seconds ahead of Depressed Squid at the moment. He's just coming up to the hairpin as Depressed Squid comes down through that sweeping section. 13 seconds back then is Common White, 53. Another 16 seconds back is Mike RJ, 95. Ash 150 is recovered up to 5th position as it stands, and he is 2 or 3 corners behind Mike RJ, 95. We'll keep an eye on his pace, so he's 16 seconds off Mike RJ, 95, so it'll be very interesting to see over the last 20 minutes if he can eat into that. My teammate Adam Foster, who pitted very early along with Ash 150, is keeping with Ash, keeping that same sort of pace in the orange McLaren. You will see me driving a McLaren of exactly the same colour, only my trim is not red, it is blue. So you'll see me in that from next week. Full Throt currently 7th, but I don't believe he has done his pit stop yet. So he will be expected to do his pit stop very soon. Offcut 25 in 8th position. 8 seconds back is his teammate MX3 Beast. Clenneth in the other gold and black Audi is currently in 10th position in what would be the last point scoring position if this was a championship race. 11th position then is Serial Killer, and he had a bit of a nightmare at some point early on in the race. I suspect his pit stop was very long due to damage, so he is probably 12-13 seconds behind Clenneth at the moment, so not impossible. He could still get up into the points. Y4 Volt 3N is currently in 12th, 21 seconds behind Serial Killer, and Harrison is currently last. We have had a disconnection from our Italian driver, but yeah, Harrison currently 2 laps behind and about to get lapped by Marmaletto again, so he's just struggling a little bit to get to grips with this track. He is new to the game, he's only had the software a few weeks, so yeah, I would expect his pace to improve hugely over the coming weeks, and yeah, I would expect him to be probably beating me for position before long as time goes by. So there's Marmalotto just overtaking Harrison there, and Depressed Squid, the gap now down to 3.309 seconds. So he has eaten into it. Whether it's mistakes, whether it's traffic, I don't know, but I did say to watch out for Depressed Squid's pace in the last section of the race. He holds onto his tyres, he holds onto the fuel, he saves them for when he needs them the most, and he's got it all available to him now as he chases down. And I'm cheating a little bit because I've also got Depressed Squid's Twitch stream up on my laptop next to me, so I can keep an eye on his onboard. After the mistakes early on in the race, I thought I'd put them on just so I could see what he's up to, but he's back into his groove. He's very smooth at the moment. I don't want to commentate to curse him, but he is back in the groove and chasing down a Marmolotto. This race is not over yet. 2.5 seconds now. He's eating into that gap. Come on, Depressed Squid, give us a race. Give us a race. I was expecting it to be a lot closer than this, but unfortunately the damage at the start is what's caused the problems, particularly for Mike RJ, Ash 150, Offcut 25. Those guys have definitely got the pace to be challenging up with these two. Unfortunately, it's that damage, whatever happened at the start, has caused it to be a bit more spread out than I would have expected. But this is all what we're here to do, to learn. I'd rather them get the crashes and the mistakes out of the way now, and then keep the racing nice and clean. So another mistake there by Marmolotto. You could see that. You could see the mistake. He went way too deep into the corner. He's starting to feel the pressure now. He doesn't look the same since the pit stop. I don't know whether something has changed with setup or tyre pressures or something, but he's not as happy since the pit stop. And you can see Depressed Squid's eaten another half a second out of him. He's only points out, oh, Marmolotto's gone off, and Depressed Squid, he's about to go past him. He's got the position. Depressed Squid goes into first place. Marmolotto straight off the track. He is not happy with this car since the pit stop, and now he's got another job on his hands. He's been clearly the fastest man on the circuit all day, all through practice, all through qualifying, all through the race, but since the pit stop, that car is not doing well for him. Well, he's fallen behind now, and Depressed Squid takes the lead, and he's now 3 seconds behind. So we've just got just under 18 minutes to go, which is going to be, was it 10 laps or so? More. We've had 23 laps so far, and well, I was not expecting it to be that easy for Depressed Squid. I really thought he was going to have to work for it, but oh, Marmolotto's, something's gone wrong. He's had to go into the pits, so he might not even get on the podium here. He's not happy with something on that car, and he's had to go into the pits again. Oh, this has turned into a disaster for him after what was a flawless qualifying lap. It looks like he might struggle to finish in the top 5 at this rate. He's had to make another pit stop. He clearly has not been happy with something since the pit stop, and I'll be interested to speak to him after the race and find out exactly what happened, but something has gone terribly wrong for him. So Colmer White, now my replacement, just throwing that one back in there, is currently up to second place. Marmolotto, yeah, Ash has got him, he's done 5th. My teammate Adam Foster has got him, he's down to 6. Oh, this has turned into an absolute disaster for him. So Offcut is just got him as well. MX3 Beast has got it's all gone wrong for him. Serial Killer's back in the pits for another stop as well. Well, that's kind of taken the fun out of it for us, guys. I was really looking forward to us having a good race for those last few laps, watching Depressed Squid chase him down. But Marmolotto has had an absolute disaster. He's still in the pits, he's still stationary. There must be something seriously wrong with that car. It's just dropped off the, yeah, he's away, so he's down in 9th place, and Serial Killer's just coming out of the pits as well after his second stop, so I don't know if he's had another off as well, but there we go. Marmolotto actually comes out of the pits directly behind Depressed Squid, but now an entire lap behind him. Oh, he must be absolutely devastated. I really do feel for him. I've had races like this myself many times on project cars, and I really do feel for him. That is absolutely gutting. So currently then, your race leader by a considerable margin now is Depressed Squid. Out of nowhere, it's his to lose. So Comma White is about, I was going to say 15 seconds, but not 18 seconds behind him. Currently in second place. Mike RJ is about 10 seconds behind him. Ash is way back from these two, so Mike RJ's got probably 7 or 8 laps to try and cut 10 seconds. It is doable, but Comma White is no slouch. He is a very, very quick driver, so I would be surprised if that AMG can cut that gap by that much. So the closest battle at the moment is my teammate Adam Foster in the orange McLaren, chasing down Ash 150 in the Lexus. Ash got caught up in that nonsense at the start. No, sorry, he had an off, didn't he? About 4 or 5 laps in, he flew off the road and picked up some damage. So that is why he is so far off the lead. But Adam Foster has taken a fair bit of time out of him over the last few laps. So I don't know if Ash has made a few more mistakes. There's a bit of damage on that car, so quite possibly it'd be interesting to see. Yes, another half a second he's taken out of him there. It's not been a good day for Team Dash. Luckily it's just a pre-season friendly race, so if you're going to make your mistakes, now is a good time to make them. So Ash rounds the final corner on the power, and that McLaren is still, it's lost a bit of time there, so it's still just over 1.5 seconds behind him. So Mike RJ has taken another second out of Comma White. It's not impossible. There's a good chance he may well be able to do this. So we've got 12.5 minutes to go. So Depressed Squid is your race leader at the moment. He's got a considerable gap over Comma White, who is down in second place. A fair few corners back. And Mike RJ 95 in the AMGs. Done a great recovery drive. He was near enough dead last after the first corner incident that we saw. He is eating away at Comma White's time, but I don't know if he's got the pace to catch and overtake him. Ash 150, another recovery drive after an accident. It appeared to be caused by nothing but himself, but I can't say for sure. He is currently in 4th. Adam Foster in the one and only McLaren today is currently in 5th and lapping about the same time as Ash, so doesn't appear to be making any inroads there. Offcut 25 is in 6th. He was heavily involved in that incident at the start, so he has had his car repaired. By the look of the paint, it's all nice and shiny again. He's currently 6th with his teammate 6.5 seconds behind him. Clenneth currently in 8th. He's had a nice clean race from what I can tell. When I've seen him, he had a good battle with Mike RJ 95 earlier, kept it nice and clean, and he is currently 8th. And well, what has to be one of the most disappointed men on the planet at the moment, Marmolotto, fastest in practice, fastest in qualifying, by far the quickest man in the race, and had an extremely commanding lead. And after his pit stop, the car just looked undrivable, and Depressed Squid just reeled him in, and then he made a mistake and had to make a second pit stop. So he's currently down in 9th place. But I'm very much looking forward to watching the battle between these drivers in even though I'll be involved in it, I shan't be challenging these lap times. I can promise you that. I'll be more like an 8th or 9th position kind of guy, challenging perhaps for the Nico Hülkenberg trophy, but he is in 9th, but I am expecting big things from him after today's performance. This is his first race with us, yeah, and I'm expecting big things from him over the coming weeks now. So full throt, again, another one of our newer drivers. He's been with us a few weeks now, but he is in the last, what would be, points position in that Ferrari. Y4 Volt 3N in the Lexus is currently in 11th. Serial Killer 999, who has had a race to forget, and I don't suspect he'll be particularly pleased with himself. I know how much he enjoys it, but I know how much pressure he puts on himself to do well, especially because his brother is so quick and he wants to do Team Dash proud. So again, he will be battling for podiums as the season goes on, no doubt. And then Mr. Harrison at the back in our blue and green Ferrari. Currently in 13th position, and effectively the 14th man is Generino, who unfortunately has had some connection issues over the last week. It hasn't happened to anyone else, so I can only assume it's internet related, wherever he may be. So your race leader is just crossing the line to start lap 29. We have got 8.5 minutes left of this race. The gap between Mike RJ95 and Common White is now down to 6.5 seconds, but I did think it would be the case, and it does appear that he's going to run out of laps before he is able to catch him. So although that gap is coming down, it's not coming down by quite enough to cause Common White any trouble in these closing moments of this race. Adam Foster has also dropped back from Ash 150, a good 3 seconds off him now. Ash appears to have settled back down. Offcut is closing the gap to these, but again, I don't think he's got enough laps to really close up on Adam Foster. But the gap between Offcut and Foster is about the same as the gap between Mike RJ95 and Common White, so I will keep an eye on those gaps just as this goes on, so we can see any potential moves that may happen. Yeah, that's about all the fights that we have on track at the moment. So Offcut's gap is coming down. We'll just stick on board with him for a little while in the Welsh themed livery Porsche, and a very nice livery it is too. Mike RJ95's time has reduced to 4.5 seconds. He can see Common White ahead of him now. How many laps are we going to get here? 40, 4, possibly another 3 laps. 1.5 seconds a lap seems like a lot to take out of someone, but it is possible. Offcut's time also reducing down. He's got that down to 4 seconds now. He's definitely catching. Adam Foster did have to overtake Full Throt in the Ferrari though, so he could have been held up by that, but Full Throt is pulling out of the way. Is he going to be nice and kind to Offcut and give him a chance to close up? I think we've probably got time for 3 more laps, maybe 4, depending on when the leader crosses the line, and he's just on the 30th lap at the moment and coming down towards the start. Finish straight very shortly to start lap number 31, so he will do 3 more laps. So 3.9 seconds now the gap for Offcut. He is going for that McLaren, he's after him. I don't know if 3 laps is going to be enough, but I suppose it is. If he's going to have over a second a lap, he might well have enough in the tank to get there. And Offcut has dropped his teammate MX3 Beast as well, so he is going for it, showing extraordinary pace in this latter stage of the race. Mike RJ has got his gap down as well. Commonwealth has just lapped Serial Killer. Mike RJ is going after him. Just over 3 seconds now the gap for those 3.5 seconds between Offcut and Foster. Just wondering, are they going to run out of laps? They've clearly got more pace in the cars ahead of them, but I think they may have just left it a little bit too late. What we need right now is a safety car and then just a 1 lap shootout right at the end. That'd be good fun, that would. Fat chance, unfortunately. Okay, so Mike RJ95's gap is just over 3 seconds. Offcuts is 3.5. Mike RJ needs to lap Serial Killer, so how kind is Serial Killer going to be? Offcut appears to have lost a little bit of time on that lap, so I think that's going to be Curtins for getting 5th position. Yeah, just say it again, I think Mike RJ95 has done an excellent recovery drive after getting caught up in that incident on lap 1, turn 1. So, 2.2 seconds now, he is going for it. I think Comma White may have made a bit of a mistake. This is definitely the one to look out for now. This is the closest battle that we have got. So, yeah, he's got 2 laps to get this done. It's under 2 seconds now. We'll stick on board with Comma White and watch as Mike RJ95 chases him down. He's got more pace at the moment. I don't know if he's got enough for 2nd place. Has he got enough laps? Has he got enough time to get ahead of Common White 53, who is effectively me for this race? So just 2.5 minutes of this race left, but depending on when the lead car crosses the line will depend on how many laps we have. And the lead car is coming down towards the start finish straight now, so we'll have 2 laps, I would imagine, or actually might only be 1 more. I'll keep an eye on when Depressed Squid crosses the finishing line. I'll keep an eye on the time. I think it'll just be 2 more laps. He's just crossing the... yeah, it'll just be 2 more laps by a few seconds. So this gap now is down to less than a second. Mike RJ95 has been on it since getting caught up in that accident. He's fought his way back up, and Common White now has got some defending to do as we head into a shootout for 2nd place now, basically, for this last couple of laps. He has reeled him in. He's clearly got the quicker car. Can Comma White 53 defend from Mike RJ95? One goes very wide, one goes narrow. He's taken a defensive line. Is he going to be able to hold on to doing that all the way through this lap? So they're coming out to the left-hander, back on the power nice and early down the back straight.